Are you ready to be fired up? Because I sure am. I've got Derral Eves here today. He is the boss on YouTube. He is the original GOAT, like the greatest of all time for YouTube. And so much so that I actually have coached with Derral. Finally, I took the plunge and it was an awesome experience. We're gonna pick his brain right now about how to stand out in your niche on YouTube. Derral, thanks for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. Anytime I can talk YouTube, it's going to be a good day.
I know. You are definitely, you have, just so everyone put it in perspective, he has coached some of the biggest YouTubers. Everyone, of course, knows who Mr.Beast is, but on top of that, I've seen you help Myron Golden just expand. You know, Alex Hormozy, there's all these people that have coached with you that have just all blown it out of the park, and now you are even coaching professional basketball players, which I was so impressed by that. So let's talk YouTube.
Yeah, let's dive right in. I think the thing for me is I'm super passionate about great content, and I think that humanity deserves great content, right? And at the end of the day, sometimes wait, no, I'm a business, I'm not content. I'm like, well, no, like some of the best businesses that ever existed have great content. Look at GoPro, look at Red Bull, there's just the names go on. It's just more, we just need to figure out a way to communicate and to expand where people can see value in it and want to share with others. And that's kind of what brand building is, especially for those that are looking for businesses. And it can work with a mom and pop shop up to, Fortune 100 company or whatever. It can, as long as you have that strategy. So anytime I can inspire people, I'm all in, and so can't wait to share with all of you just those techniques. So
it's so funny too, because I didn't until I coached with you. I always knew YouTube was important, but I didn't understand just how massive the platform was, and just how you had us do this protocol research recon, you call it, and I was trying to find these hidden gems that were hidden, but they have millions of views and subscribers, and I was like, what the heck? There's a channel for crazy food trucks and all these different things, and so it got me so excited about it. So if we can talk about that, but also, is it too late? And it seems like, is it too late for people to start doing YouTube? And kind of get into that, because I think people think, oh, it's too late to get into YouTube.
Yeah, so just to put it in context so that everyone has an opportunity, YouTube's been around since 2005, and they were the first platform to start sharing money with creators, because they're like, hey, we don't make videos, but we need to encourage people to make videos, and so let's give them money too. And so it kind of created what we have now, which is the creator economy, where there's influencers coming in and having businesses that are adjacent to audience development and go from there. And the common question was do you really make money on YouTube? And I think that was more of, questions 4 or 5, even 10 years ago. But now, they're starting to see that influence that's coming across, and they're starting to reference it. So there is a ton of opportunity. Now, the next question would be what type of market penetration that YouTube has? Well, YouTube, it's crazy with the billions of people that connect, every week into the content, and they're all over the world. And what's interesting is there's content for everyone. And from just a user, viewer base, it's just through the roof. But now, even more so, of just active users that's coming on every day, and then also just on YouTube TV. We're just talking just watching YouTube on TV. It is surpassed Netflix. Just one device, it's surpassing Netflix, and it's just there's so much out there, and there's so much opportunity. So the next question after that is, everybody's like, well, is it too late? And I would say, actually, right now is the most perfect time for you to actually be a part of YouTube, because YouTube's so solidified of knowing what audiences are and the audiences that are out there, that you can actually have a lot of massive growth. In fact, I've had students come in and in less than a year have hundreds of millions of views and 3 or 4 million subscribers in less than a year. It's just why not now? One of my favorite stories of all time is I had someone want to come learn from me, and they put all their money that they had in their savings account so they could fly all the way across the United States, go to my conference that's called Vid Summit, and convince her mom to go, and says, I need to do this. And then she ended up going in there and learning and rubbing shoulders with some of the biggest content creators on the planet. But she won my coaching program. And I had 6 people on the stage. I says, one of these people are going to come back and keynote next year, because 1 in 6 people that work with me, they just pop off. They just go there.
Which is unheard of, by the way. Like, to have 1 in 6, that's amazing.
Yeah. But what's crazy is this girl was 17. Okay. And anyway, her mom was like nervous and all this other stuff, whatever. Well, not only did she come back, she had over 3 million subscribers, about 400 million video views. And not only did that happen, but her mom just crossed 1 million subscribers. So like her mom saw the vision of it, like, holy cow. And her mom is older. Like it is what it is. But like now she has the YouTube bug, and it's like totally transformed the whole family and their whole experience. And so for me, it's never too late. If you want to grow an audience. In fact, now is the most perfect time, because it's so seasoned that YouTube's really good at identifying who wants to watch the content and where the value is actually coming from. And so if you're doing it right, if you're hitting on all cylinders, it's the fastest way to grow.
Oh, I love that. Okay, that's good to know. So we got that out of the way. It's not too late, everyone. All
Not
right?
too late.
Not too late. So let's give a few tips and tricks on, what would you say? Can you give us a few things? These are the things that you need to think about and focus on when you're doing YouTube to help your YouTube channel be successful?
Yeah. So it's actually pretty simple, believe it or not. I think people tend to overcomplicate it. So generally, you got to understand what YouTube is and what it's not. Some people think it's a repository for any video that they put out there. They're going to just upload it and, hey, it's going to magically be found. No, it's not. Let's just make it clear, right? YouTube's all about audiences, and they want to connect viewers to content that viewers want to watch. Mm. That's the whole goal, is they want to predict what viewers want to watch and then keep them on the platform longer. And the reason why they want to keep them on longer, because longer that they stay, the more money they make, because more ads fire. That's how YouTube makes better content. So of course it's going to find great content that puts it in front of the right audience. And they've been using an AI since 2012. And so it's like, since 2012, they have this AI that has a learning. And as soon as you give it a little bit of feedback, which is, oh, I like this content, by watching the whole thing or sharing it or engaging with it. And they're like, ooh, what do they do next? And they watch another video. They're like, oh, okay, now we're starting to see patterns. And there's similar people having these same type of patterns. Let's go give this content that they liked in front of these new eyeballs. And that's how audiences grow. And so for me, it's more about the viewer than anything else. And so and you know this from being one of my students, it's like, I want to know who the viewer is before I'm even making content. And I want to know where are they at in life? What type of value are they looking for when they're looking for content? It could be education, inspiration, entertainment. But then too, within that, what is the value proposition where they're like, oh my gosh, I literally found a community and a channel or a video that I feel like I belong, or that deeper connection, whatever that may be. And so for me, it's more about understanding how people respond to content and why, and why they would look forward to that content, and then start putting together what that content could be based on some parameters of the viewer. Now, one good news is most creators, they're going to make content for themselves, because they're like saying, hey, I'm interested in this, and this is the reason why I'm doing it. Now, the difference would be just because you're passionate about something to create content doesn't mean that you're going to get a view. You have to be able to understand there's going to be somebody on the other side of that video that needs value. And just because you're an expert in, and you will get into it at minute marker 8, the value that they need, well, they might not even make it to 8. That minute marker. You have to figure out how to pull them into that content. And that's where I focus more about human and how they respond to communities and content and engagement. And I like to really hone in on that. It's really simple once you really lock in your thought process. And then as you come up with your strategies, you're more, oh, here's my guardrails, what I not do. And I'll stay very specific to this, because this is the value proposition of every video that I do on my channel.
Oh, I love it, and everything you're saying, even just from the thumbnail. I mean, I know you spend so much attention
Way too much.
on the thumbnail and just every little integral part of it, and that has a huge part of it. And what you're saying in the very first, 10 seconds of your video, matching the thumbnail, it just, there's so many things that I wouldn't have even thought. I mean, I wouldn't have even have thought. Like, I was shocked when I was doing the recon about how many people I had never even heard of or never knew that had massive followings about stuff that you would never imagine would do well,
Yeah, there's definitely an audience for everyone out there. There's all these channels that I discover every day. I'm like, I just found one today. This is the funniest one. I found one today. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is great content. Come to find out she's one of my students. Like, I had no idea. It was just like, it was really good. And so I'm like, Justin, who's this? And like, go find more information about that. Justin's the president of one of my companies. And he's like, dude, she's like in Channel Jumpstart. Like that was the video. The video was her Jumpstart video. Like, okay, there we go. But like, you can discover people all the time. And sometimes you can't see apparently what the value proposition is because you're not the viewer that was intended for it. But there's a reason why it has millions and millions of views, And so if you can figure out what that is and what that value prop is, and you can deliver that value prop consistently, then you can actually have a really good channel strategy where, they want to watch multiple videos, not just one.
Well, and understanding obviously like who your ideal client is, like who this is meant for, what they would be interested in, kind of like super niching it down, I would assume is pretty important.
Yeah, no, I would say too, but keep in mind, sometimes your audience that buys your products or services isn't your viewing audience. And so like one of my, he said, I will be your best student ever in the history of your coaching. I'm like, I've heard that before. But his name was Myron Golden, and you probably know him because I see all the little plaques behind you. And it seems like he talks at pretty much every ClickFunnels event. But Myron came to me and he's like, I've been on YouTube for so long, I just don't get it. I got 10,000 subscribers, and I just like I hit or miss, right? I'm like, well, you have no strategy. Like, well, let's define the strategy. So he came on and he's like, I'll be your best student. I'll do exactly what it is. And one of the first things that I was trying to do with him was who your current customer is not who your viewer is. But if you get who your viewer is, they will become your new customer. Okay, that was the compounding effect, because what happens generally when we market, you know right now, and you've done this like I don't know how many times with all the stuff that you've done, but it's just like, okay, who's gonna buy our product? Like, what's going on with them? And you're trying to figure out the avatar of someone that's buying the product, right? And you get really good at ad copy. You're really good at the messaging and hitting that one person, and you spend a lot of money trying to figure out what that's going to be and how to get them to convert. And then once you have that data, then you're getting lookalike audiences and go out and find similar people in that whole vein, right? But every single time you told the ad system who you wanted to target, you created very specific things to a specific audience. I'm saying you don't do that. Like, I want the AI to tell me what that was. And when we went for Myron, I'm like, you cannot do anything you've done ever before when it comes to ads and targeting. I want you to see the viewer from a different perspective, and then I want you to figure out what your value proposition is for them in the content alone, right? And he's like, well, how's that going to translate over to, the whole thing? I says, it does every single time. I says, you will see record numbers if you hit this vein right, and let YouTube figure out who your audience is. And so that actually occurred. And he actually made a video. He goes, this is number one best thing I've ever done in my business, bar none. There's not even a close second, because like he was up like 2, 3, 4x, sometimes 4,000% higher, and it totally transformed his whole thing. And it was like the new people coming on weren't the current type of audience. It was a new audience that he didn't even know existed, and he actually resonated better with. And actually, it was easier to close. Like, he didn't have to close anybody. They were already closed. It was like,
I've seen it happen. I've literally watched it.
Yeah.
I've watched him do this, and what you're saying, it's so different than everything else, right? It's like you let YouTube tell you who your audience is based upon the analytics and the AI.
Right.
It's not it's not what we're mostly taught, and it's brilliant. And I'll tell you
Well,
what.
I think it's more this, Krista, because I think it's more about you got to have an assumption of who you think the audience is, but be willing to be wrong. And that's what your recon and research is. You got to figure out, okay, who is this person? Let's see if we can dig deeper. And we might have a hypothesis of who they are, but as soon as it starts to resonate, we see, okay, here's the demographics, and we can figure out the psychographics as they're engaging with us and as we go deeper with them of what they find valuable, and then to what their life is based on that. And then we can change our hypothesis, and as we do it, we're able to really speak to the viewer properly. And so that alone helps us understand what it is. And then the thing that I love is how much money brands spend on to get people to know, love, and trust you, right? Like how much marketing is done. With YouTube, you got to do it for free. And in fact, YouTube pays you money to do it. Instead of you paying them, YouTube's paying you money. Like when Myron saw the first check, he goes like, oh, this is interesting. And the next month the check came in. Wait, this is just double. This is interesting. And he got to the third or fourth month and he goes, wait, that was like $125,000 that I got this last month by just uploading YouTube videos. Like I'm usually spending that on ads to get people to come in, and yet they're paying me to actually grow my audience. And so for me, that was like super engaging when people can get it, because it's like YouTube already understands audience. If you're bringing value and you do it consistently and you're not deviating from it, like you're just saying this is the value that we're bringing, and then we're not offbeat, but we're like in concert. We're like, if you like this video, you're gonna like this video, you like this video, and it's gonna go more in depth.
And if you think about it, like right now, what he's saying as a viewer, right? Like when you're watching something that you're interested in, I mean, people say, oh, 30-second content is where it's at. No, you will consume something for hours and hours if you're interested in it. So
Yeah.
it's so it makes total sense. And also, the cost to acquire a customer is just it's getting so harder, and it's so much more expensive to be able to do it organically. Like I am actually just before even hiring you realized how important it is.
Yeah, but I would still say there is a cost involved, right?
Yeah.
And the cost would be your time and your willingness to go in depth in it. But the difference would be on the flip side is if you're doing more than just trying to get someone to buy and get a customer, but you're trying to get them to know, love, and trust you. When those offers are there, you don't need to spend any money on that. All you got to do is just tell them about the offers, and the people that want to go deeper will go deeper.
Yeah.
One of my favorite students of all time. So it's like she's in one of my inner circles, and my inner circle is a little bit different. It's like I invite them to my home, and we really get into it. So there's not a lot of people. It's very small. And this individual had a very specialized niche, and she's like, I'm just starting on YouTube. I got it down on the paid side, but I don't know. And I'm like, okay, so if you're going to do this, let's like plan this out. We really worked on who the audience is and who she's going to speak to and the value that she's going to bring. And then we kind of mapped out how it can go. And she's super smart on the backside. So it's like, how's it going to go into a funnel, and then how that funnel's going to go. Well, last week I got this text, and she had very specific goals, because like I work with high performers. Like I don't, if someone doesn't have goals in their life, I don't want to work with them. I'm like, I got people that want to move the needle. And so she's like, hey, just to let you know, I thought it was a bad text, but it's like, just to let you know that I did the plan, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And she's like, I did more in a day than I planned in a quarter.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
And then the next day, I did more in that day than I did in the previous day. And so that was like in that. And by the time that the fourth day hit, she was doing 30K a day.
Jeez.
And it was like on autopilot. It was like, it was this whole thing. And so the thing that I want to tell you is she's not getting millions and millions and millions of views, but she gets the right view. And YouTube knows how to find the right type of person. And every day her funnel fills up every single day, and it's on autopilot. And today, even this is like, she goes, it's compounding now. I'm like, you just wait. I told you. And I'll estimate that she'll be closer to about 80 to 100 a day. Is where she'll end up based on what she's offering. Now, I don't want to go into detail, because like she's doing her little thing, and we like to keep things private a little bit. We don't need people going in on it. But the essence of it is there's so many different opportunities if you can leverage what you know about, oh, here's how to onboard someone really good or get someone to convert, and then you bring in the YouTube content where they know, love, and trust you, that it's easy to say, oh, I offer this. Or they don't even say it where it's like, oh, I do coaching, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I want to go deeper. They're already sold. I don't even have to sell them. So
yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that. All right. So we kind of went into the, why YouTube. It's not too late. The idea behind it is getting people to know who you are and wanting to consume your content based upon putting the right content in front of the right people and having YouTube really help you find that audience and making sure you're actually listening, right? You're listening to what they're saying, and it's completely opposite than what I thought on how to do it. And obviously, because I've been doing it wrong forever, I still haven't figured it out. And we're
it's
still
because you're doing it like a marketer and not like someone that's developing an audience. But yeah, I mean, most marketers
can we break that down then? Just like right now, because I hired you and we're not giving up. We're still trying. You know me, I like to do things and do them well. That's why I hired you. And we haven't figured out like what we're doing wrong. So like if you were to look at me right now, I don't know if you've seen it. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, I think you're trying to find your voice. Like you've made money and businesses in a certain area, but you have a new voice, a new direction you're going in. So you just got to understand who that viewer is going to, the content's going to attract, but also kind of what you're about. And I don't mean this in a bad sense.
No, say it. I want to hear it.
Well, no, I think you're still on a sense of discovery. And then two, it's okay to be vulnerable at times and to be authentic. Where, like, I think this other world you had to be super polished, and I'm just saying, not so much. I want you to be a human, not some robot or whatever, or this sense of perfection that nobody can achieve, but it more relatable. And so I think it's just more finding your voice and what that actually means. And then two, you've had some pretty amazing content. Like I'll be honest with you, there's some that's raw, it's real, it's emotional, and I'm having more vested trust and love in who you are as a person that I never knew before. Like I had no idea. In fact, you're sharing stuff that like you're saying that you never shared before. I'm like, okay, that's good. That's a great thing. But I think it's more the confidence in that, and then two, that the intended desire of why you're sharing these things are bringing value. And as soon as you start seeing it's bringing value consistently, then it's going to boost your confidence. So you don't need a lot of confidence because you like exude confidence, but it's more confidence in your ability to connect on YouTube. And that's when it's going to blow up. And so for me, it's about not giving up, and it's more about learning from every video, learning what you're doing right, what you're wrong. And part of it is kind of the mentality of how you build things. Mm-hmm. You've built with teams, girl. Like you surround yourself by really good teams, and they're very, hey, we need to do this, whatever, right? This. And this is a totally different approach. Like you're calling the shots on this one. If somebody else is calling the shots, they're the creator, and you're just the actor, right? You need to be the creator. You need to be the influencer, and you need to almost anticipate what they need before they need it. And what I love more than anything else is like some of the best videos I've ever seen on YouTube, especially in this space, is a guy that like has this little nose things that gets his nose up so he can breathe properly, right? And he's locked in a freaking closet, but he's bringing value consistently where you're like, oh my gosh, he's like, this is so good. Like I could literally, even though this is not correlated to my company, I'm learning from this and I'm growing from this and I'm connecting with this. That's the content I love because it's raw and real and relatable. Raw, real, and relatable. And that's the key for it. And then once you have the confidence, then you can start leaning into the content, and you can see his content really start to improve as he started to understand who his audience was. It wasn't gym owners, but it was this. And his goal was more, I want people to be better business people so that when they think of scaling and selling their business, they're thinking about me and acquisition.com. And before you know it, this is going to create other opportunities. And we're talking about Alex Ramosi, if you guys.
Yes, we are. So I want to, I hope you know that I'm coachable, and I want to learn what I can do better, and I want to understand more, because like for me, and this will help the audience, because like I'll coach my people and they think they're doing it, and I think I'm doing it right. Like I feel like I am being myself, and I am being real, and I am trying to add value, and I am being authentic. So what, I don't know what to do better. Like I'm just being myself.
Well, you are, but you were hesitant. Like first off, you were hesitant to share some of the things. You're like, I don't know, like I've never done that before. Instead
Yes.
of saying, "Oh, this is going to really bring value into someone's life," and me being transparent makes me vulnerable, and there's that sense of connection. So like you got over that hurdle, so I'm not worried about that, right? But it's just more thinking about how to bring value to someone that's in need, and you do that, but it's been in one area so strong that you're not seeing the new offering that's completely outside of this, that is more around the individual. So like for me, it's not like going to be real estate or anything that generated, right? It's going to be about women, and who's really the thought leader in the space when it comes to women. And there's a few that are out there who's speaking truth to women, right? Like who is that? And so for me, it's more elevating what are the struggles that women are having today, and what are some of the demons that they're facing, and then two, what are we trying to do? And if it's more about empowering women to do like to change the world, then what does that look like? Because like you are the embodiment of what a lot of people want. Like they want that, right? But they didn't see the times that you're grinding away, pulling an all-nighter just to meet deadlines, or because you just don't want to lose, right? And they don't get that, and so they might think that everything needs to be handed to them, and that's not the way the world is. And so you got to position yourself like who you're trying to help, and why. Like how would you help them? And so I always like to think of my avatar as a person, and I want to help them generally with it. So like most people think, oh, entertainment is just entertainment and it's just getting them to laugh. Well, no. I'm thinking about it as like, hey, they might be totally into X, Y, or Z, and I just want them a safe place where they know that it's going to be family safe, it's going to be brand safe, that they know that anytime that they're having a down day, they're going to come and be entertained, and they're going to feel like they belong. That's a pretty amazing opportunity, right? So for that, it's like more like really diving into the person that you're making the content for, and I think that's where the only disconnection is like I think you kind of have an idea and you've worked through the exercises to have a really good idea, but it's getting that feedback that you kind of crave of, oh, they're responding really well to it, because as soon as you get it, then you're gonna hit that gas, and it's gonna
I
it's
haven't
gonna
got
take,
it though yet, so I know I'm doing something wrong.
yeah.
Because I'm just like, and like I'm not giving up. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
know I at all, and I hope the listeners are hearing this. Like I am being coached from Derral. I am coachable, and I still haven't figured it out. I've been trying for years, and so I hired him, and even though I've hired him, I haven't like hit it out of the ballpark, not even close, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
probably
what
one of
I
his
what
first
I
students.
found is this. So 1 out of 6 will do it within the 12 weeks that I do my. They'll just things will pop off, and it happens there. But 2 more of the 6. So if you're looking half of them, within 6 to 8 months is when it clicks, and so literally half of the people that come on, I can't really help the other 3, because it's like they either just give up, they're not persistent, or they're like, oh, this doesn't work or whatever. And they're not really looking at what I'm teaching. And all I'm teaching is like there's people out there that are craving for that content. How are you going to get how do you, just because you upload a video doesn't mean it deserves to have a view. Like how are you going to earn that? And then two, how are you going to get it where they want more content? And if you can figure that out in that way with that audience, YouTube can figure out who's going to be that audience. What we want to do is not have a certain type of viewer like one video and like the other. So you can't go, oh, I'm literally going to talk about self-improvement and mindset and whatever, and then the next day I'm going to go fishing and talk about how I'm going to cook this fish after I catch it. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work, right? Because like some people are like, well, that was like weird. Like I can't click on that. I don't have any desire for there. But if it was like more of a constant theme around items around a specific subject, then yeah, it can create opportunity where they're like, oh man, I love every one of our videos. I can't miss out on the videos because it leaves me with this every time, and I'm thinking of 4 or 5 people that I want to share this with.
So let me ask you a question. I feel really honored right now because almost like I'm getting my own little self-coaching call with you, and so which is
That's
great.
the way we roll.
So let me ask you. So just for those of you that don't know what Derral's talking about me sharing something very personal that I had never shared publicly ever in my life was, and how it went was we were having a coaching call, and I basically put in the chat, and I said, hey, I've had an eating disorder for 37 years. I'm afraid to talk about it, to people. Can you ask Derral if, what he thinks? Because anyways, and so Derral reached out to me, and he was like, privately, he reached out to me privately and just basically said, yes, I think that you should. And of course I let my fears, because of fear of being judged, fear of the embarrassment, fear of the, just people judging me, quite frankly. Every fear came up in the world, but I had a calling to do it. And so I did. Not a lot of people have seen it, obviously, yet, but because it's not something that I shared. But I will tell you, Derral, since then, I've actually publicly had an event with like 400 people, my own personal event, and I shared it twice now. Since then,
now I want to talk about that because this is really important, because like you immediately got feedback that you never did in the video yet. And what was the look on the first 2 rows when you dropped the news? When you confessed, you're like, "Hey, I got a confession here." Like, what was their reaction?
On our coaching call?
No. When you did it at the event.
Oh, it was. Oh my gosh, I got I did it to my students, number one, and then first I did it at the event, and people were just like, "Thank you for being honest and real."
I know, but how did their facial reactions? How did they?
I had people crying on it. It was pretty crazy, actually. Like people were very, like they were thanking me for being honest because nobody ever is about stuff like that. So they were great. I mean, it made me feel good too because I knew I was like making an impact with people. But people loved it. It helped them. I know at that moment I helped a ton of people. Big time.
And that's it. That's the feedback that you need to be a good YouTuber. It's like when you really understand the value that you're bringing and being open and authentic and vulnerable. It's great. I'm not saying that you have to confess all your sins and literally just say, "Hey, I suck at this and this and this," right? And self-deprecating. I don't want that, right? I want you to just be approachable and relatable. And far too many students, I would say, of yours, thought you walk on water, and it's like, oh my gosh, everything that she touches is gold, and it's not.
They don't think that because I'm way too honest about my.
No, I know, but
my husband's always like, "Can you not be so honest about yourself?"
But the reality is, in their back of their mind, is like anything that she touches is gold, and so like I want that, right? And so there is that innate in it, and then they kind of put you up there. But what you did is you brought them down to their level, and this is the key. And I've mentioned this in channel notes, but I don't know if you got it. I don't want you to talk at someone. I don't want you to present to someone. I want you to have a conversation with someone.
I think that's
you've
what
got to be at their level, not speaking down at them, but to be at their level and sharing vulnerable moments. It actually brings people into a state where they surrender and they're like, "Hey, I'm just like you. I might be further along in some things, and you might be further along in other things, but like we all have problems. We're all messed up, right?"
Yeah.
But what brings us together is our hope and our love and our passion, and you kind of go into it. So like for that, like nobody wants to be talked down to. And if you really look at it, there's personalities that like the alpha male hoorah, like I'm going to sell you 10 cars and you're going to have whatever at the back of the room, right? And they have that, and they get sucked into the opportunity. But the ones that have longevity actually understands value props. So like one of the biggest audience development companies I've ever seen is Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins is about transformation. Like his whole thing is about transformation, taking someone where they're at and making them a better person, right? When you transform with Tony, like he literally is like has like the Grateful Dead people like are traveling with him all around the world, just to go to his events, and they're paying a lot of money for that, right? But the whole thing is they get it. They get the community side of what Tony's offering. They get the content side that he's offering, but they want more clarity, and that's why they go. It's like, oh, he's like he has his patterns of what he does, but it's finally connecting the dots where I get it. And so for me, that's the value prop, and I think all of us can do it, but we just need to be consistent at it. And it's to be consistently intentional on the value that we're going to bring and how they're going to connect with the value proposition, but also us in the process.
I love this. This was great. I appreciate you very much, more than you even know. I hope this was helpful for everyone. I know it was definitely helpful for me, and I hope that it helped you as it was helping me. Because I was going to ask Derral, what am I doing wrong? What did I do? And I think you pretty much just nailed it on the head. So I'm going to ask you one last question, and again,
Well, I'm going to say one more thing before you ask the
Yes.
last question. So my biggest advice for you is to be patient. And that's hard for someone that's an overachiever that wants success immediately. Trust me, I know that. Like, I hate, like, if there's ever one thing that I'm known for is I hate to lose. I don't like to lose, right? But I don't want you to view it that way. I just want you to be patient and celebrate the wins. Like, you being vulnerable and open on something that you held privately for a very long time is a huge win. You saw how it responded to a crowd. You saw how it responded to your students. It's going to respond the same way in video. It's good video, right? Yeah. But there needs to be consistency. So patient and consistency is what you need to. And the consistency is more about connecting to the viewer that you know is out there, your ideal viewer. And we kind of define that, in our coaching, but I think it's just more understanding who that is, and then really bringing the value in where they feel like, oh my gosh, I cannot miss a video because she really just helps bless my life, of her insight and the way that she communicates and the way that she explains things. I just want to be surrounded by that.
Yeah, that's good advice for everybody, right? As far as that's what we're all after. I have a hard time doing it. I think sometimes I wonder if I should just grab my camera, like the one I did was just me and my camera without anybody else. I think when there's people around and I don't know, maybe I should just start doing it myself. And
I'd probably encourage you to do that. I think you're maybe less editing in your head, and you're just more coming from your heart, and I think that could be a good thing. So.
And just speaking like I'm speaking to my best friend, kind of a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Derral, thank you so much. So I really appreciate this and your time. And for those of you that don't know, go and Channel Jumpstart is the name of Derral's coaching program that he has. I'm actually in it. The cool thing about that is once you're in it for life. And he's got this great vid summit coming up in September, correct?
That's right. Yeah,
coming up in September. So tell them, can you give them the information on that, Derral?
Yeah, so it's in Dallas, Texas. It's where the top 1% of the YouTubers give back and share with other creators that are coming up in the space. And it's all around the creator economy, all aspects of audience development, content development, brand development. And then we have the biggest brands on the planet that come together that really is there. So that happens in Dallas on September 3rd through the 5th. And unfortunately, it's like crossing over like a couple days into ClickFunnels. So I can't be in two places at two times. But we start a little bit earlier. They go a little bit later. But there's one day of crossover. So
where do they go to find out? What's the URL for that, Derral?
Vidsummit.com.
Vidsummit.com. Vidsummit.com. And go check out, Derral. He's like the producer of an amazing TV show. Talk to them about that. I mean, how do you even have time to even be on here? I know that that's taken all your time.
No, it's so 7 years ago, I co-founded a TV show called The Chosen, and me and my partner Dallas Jenkins, we have a TV show about the life of Jesus Christ, but it's through the perspective of those that he called. And so you're kind of seeing Jesus' life and what he taught through just his disciples and apostles and so on. And so we're just producing right now our 5th season, and what's been great is we're getting it out to the world, and we're doing it pretty disruptive. We've done it in a disruptive way. And our goal is, to get the show seen by 1 billion unique people. And so we're well on our way. We're just about ready to cross 400 million unique viewers, and these are not views; these are actual people. And so it's been great, and it's just spreading. It's in fact, we just got news that we're the 4th most watched TV show in the world. So
good for you. I remember I was in line at the store, and I remember I took a picture. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Derral's show.
That's
so
right.
It's he knows his stuff. So Derral, I always end every show with one thing, and that would be if you could give any piece of advice, whether it's business, personal, relationships, health, wealth, sex, whatever it might be. What would it be?
Yeah, so for me, it's like know your purpose, like understand what your purpose is. If your purpose is about money, you need to go deeper into your purpose. And once you understand the purpose, like how do you amplify your purpose? How do you surround yourself? So like for me, I'm very mission driven. I do it for missional reasons. And I always find it's easier to succeed when you know why you're supposed to do it or you're a part of something. And so just try to figure that out. Because I think the biggest people that struggle, I don't care where it is, once they have that defined, what their vision, mission, and purpose is, then it's really clearly easy to create goals that would enhance that. And then two, strategic plans that would actually elevate the world into a very positive place. So just think about that. I would say that is one of the most underutilized piece, or they thought about it and they've written it down, but it's not a part of their daily practice. And so they're doing things right now that's out of line with what they're supposed to do. And for me, I want it 100% in line. Like there's not, like I'm just literally in line, and I won't do something if it doesn't fulfill with my ultimate, vision and mission and purpose on that. So.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Derral, thank you so much. Please make sure you go watch The Chosen, make it before 100 million and one or whatever it might be, and go out there and watch him. And I appreciate your time. And everyone, I hope that you are just as fired up as I am. Derral, thank you, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.